was added on.
For many restaurants, changes were made to help stay safe. And in business, by next week, asking for proof of vaccination might be next in line.
If it's mandatory, we'll use it. If not, then we'll have to sit down, myself as the owner and my wife who's also the owner and our managers, and talk about what the best course of action is.
At Quatrefoil Restaurant in Dundas, owner Fraser McFarland says the pandemic has brought some challenges.
We're going to have to do the policing as far as making sure people have their certificate or their passport or whatever you want to call it. And, you know, we already have people coming to the restaurant without masks that sometimes don't want to put one on, and that's been a struggle.
After weeks of many appearances and little dialogue, Premier Doug Ford and his government are expected to announce some sort of vaccine certification system following weeks of pressure from health units.
And I certainly hope that here in Ontario, Premier Ford steps up.
And opposition on the campaign trail.
Ford said it was going to be, create a split society. Well, that all seems to have fallen by the wayside now, and the Ford government is ready to come out with a vaccine certificate now that the federal government is pulling up $1 billion to help the provinces pay for such a program.
Political analyst Keith Leslie says polls are showing a strong support for the health measure. In the business community, Ontario Chamber of Commerce calls it promising news, while major banks say a system is needed to avoid financial heartache.
They're going to have this mandatory certification program, which will make it much easier for businesses and schools and everyone else to just enforce their own mandates.
Only Quebec and British Columbia have signed off on a vaccine certification system. Quebec says they'll implement theirs next week, while BC will start their program in mid-September. The provinces have come out with QR codes through smartphones showing immunization status. Some Quebec politicians have already had theirs hacked.
I have a lot of reservations about a system like this without the data backing it up.
Infectious disease specialist Martha Fulford says there are ethical concerns and the province must provide more details, like the duration of the program. She adds there must be other ways to encourage vaccinations.
It's potentially possible, for example, that you set up a system like this and you end up with increased transmission because the people who aren't vaccinated end up being even more polarized.
Manitoba will be joining Ontario and the others after they said they'll implement a vaccine passport system. Jason Gaidola, CHCH News.